Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Melanie Newman and this is Kiki the Toy Poodle, and today we are filming in the Dalwhinnie Winery in a little town called Moonambel, located around 200 kilometres northwest of Melbourne in the gorgeous Pyrenees. The Toy Poodle was developed by breeding down the standard poodle. They were bred down to the size of today's miniature, and they were used in the circuses in France as a performing poodle, as they were easy to train and they were so intelligent. It wasn't until 1907 that this size poodle was known as a toy poodle. The toy poodle as we know today was created in the 20th century by again breeding down smaller size poodles. The poodle originated in Germany and it looked a lot like how our standard poodles look today. This poodle was used for retrieving and hunting. Hair was kept on certain parts of their body to help protect their hearts, their lungs, their hips and other joints. The Miami trim is a short body with 4 bracelets on the bottom of your poodle's legs. The purpose of the bracelets were to protect the joints while the dog was hunting and retrieving. The Miami trim is definitely a cross between a fashion statement with a traditional flair. So let's begin, and I hope you enjoy this grooming tutorial. Okay, so now we understand the purpose and the form and the function of our poodle and why they are trimmed in that particular way. We are just going to jump straight into our Miami and bikini trim. So Kiki's face and her feet and her tail are already clipped. So I've clipped them on a 30 blade on her feet and a 30 blade on her face and a 15 on her tail because she gets a little bit sensitive. And I'm going to clip her body on a 5F blade. So with Kiki, she does have a lot of body behind her. So she's, I would say, not on the chunky side, but she is quite solid. So she's really going to suit this length. As I'm clipping down her legs, we really need to cover those joints with hair. So I am going to clip a little bit higher than probably what I'm going to take it down to, because I don't want to make any mistakes and we can't add the hair back on. So it's easier to leave it on and then work down from there. I'm going to start clipping from just before her wither because I'm going to leave a little bit of crest. So not a lot, but just a little bit. So I'm going to start from just before her wither and then follow the direction of her coat growth. Okay, so we've clipped her body on a 5 blade and it's a little bit rough, but I don't mind. I'm going to go back over it later, but I'm just going to rough in these bracelets, so put in the position of where we want her bracelet. I like to set in my back bracelets first because then this determines the position of my front bracelets here. This is where her hock begins. Here. I generally like our bracelets to be around 1 centimetre above her hock, but because I'm roughing it in, I'm going to do around 1.5 centimetres of leaving the hair on. So I'm going to clip to this area here, whereas her hock starts here, because we're roughing it in, and then later on when I'm scissoring, I can clip it down further if I like. because I can't re-add that hair on. So I'd rather be able to remove more coat than to think, oh no, I've taken too much off. So this is how I set in my bracelets to start with. I always start with the back first and then I move on to the front. Okay, so as I'm clipping down, I like to keep my finger where I want to clip to. So it's about this position. So there is a lot of hair left on there, but I don't mind. I'm okay with that for now. And her other side, use my fingers as a guide and come straight down. Let's just tidy up the insides of our legs. Okay, so if we look at the position of her back bracelets, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to then block in our front ones. So I really need her to stand correctly. So stand how she would normally stand, which she's pretty good. Good girl. And then I'm going to come around and really watch this line here. Coming off our elbow from the front. And I'm pretty happy with that placement. Again, we're just roughing in, so it doesn't need to be perfect for now. And she had a lot of hair, so it is going to take a little bit of manipulation with the coat when we're scissoring and clipping it in further. Okay, so the wind is being my little groomer's helper because I wish I had wind in our salon where hair just like chuffed off into the distance and I don't need to worry about it. And it's not sticking to my face, and I think every groomer would understand. Okay, so I've set in the pattern for our bracelets. So now I need to clip or scissor the bottom of our bracelet. So the bit that's going to sit on her foot. So we call that her cuff. These are our 5-in-1s and I've put it on the shortest length. So this is around a 30 blade and we're going to clip that cuff in to set it in, and then I'll neaten it up with my scissors. We're going to comb down all that hair towards her foot. And with the hand that we're not holding the clipper with, so my left hand, we're going to move all that hair downwards, and I just like her little toes popping out. And then coming in with our clipper. And this actually cuts in our cuff. And this is where I'm setting in the bottom of her cuff. I could probably go a little bit shorter. So again, combing all that hair down. Good girl. And her little toes poking out and coming in with our clipper again. And let's have a look. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to do all 4 bracelets now. And the same again with our other foot. And then her little back cuffs. Brush everything down, comb it down. Little toes popping out and clip. Okay, so we've set in our cuffs, and what we want our cuffs to do, we want our cuffs to be nice and parallel with the ground. And when we're working our bracelets up, we can either do a V shape or a U shape. So depending on what we like, I prefer more with Kiki, more of a V shape coming up, and we want those bracelets to look like they're a part of the leg. So we don't want huge bracelets as they're moving. When we're scissoring, we want the bracelet to visually look like it's still a part of their legs. Okay, so let's begin scissoring. We're going to scissor her front bracelets first. And because I want her bracelets to look like they are a part of the leg, I'm just going to visualize scissoring a leg to make sure I've got the correct shape, so they're not going to be too big or too small. So as she's moving, and I always say this when I'm teaching, that when a dog is moving and they're coming towards us, we don't want all this hair coming out the sides of their legs. We don't want them to look like hair is everywhere and they're moving like this. We want them to look like they're nice, clean, straight movement. So we still need to keep that in mind when we're scissoring our front bracelets, and that goes for our back ones as well. Let's move her to her front profile. So we comb all this hair up and we can actually see what we need to remove. So if I cut all this off, we can start to visualize that leg. And the same for the other side. And then if we move her to her side profile, we can then scissor the front of the front leg and the back of the front leg. Good girl. Coming off the front of the front leg. And we're still just blocking in shape here. And they do look a little bit square, but we will then round them in once we've got our shape in. And then to do the insides, gently move one leg up and come straight in from that front profile. So let's look at these back ones. What we want is our shape to come, I like around a 45-degree angle coming off this hock area, and if you visualize that angle coming down to the table and then back to her foot. So that's our angulation here. So again, from her rear profile, I'm going to scissor, because as she's moving away, we don't want heaps of hair coming out from her moving away from us. So we want nice clean lines. So the other side. And then gently lift that leg, our back leg, so we can do the inside, and I might just move her around so you guys can see. And coming down her back leg. So the shape that we want on those back legs is an egg shape. So as I'm coming down to cut in this bracelet a little bit more, I'm actually going to take all this hair off so I get that nice egg shape around her leg. Because if we visualize, if she had hair, it would come in, so past her turn of stifle and then back into her foot, and the same as her back of her back leg, it would come in and around. So we need to create that turn of stifle with our bracelet, even though there's no hair on her knee. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that little shape on her. So if we're looking at her hock, this is her hock. So it's around 1 centimetre above her hock area. So then let's go back to her front bracelet. Good girl. We'll begin to scissor the front bracelet in and round all those hard squared edges off. And our front bracelets can be an egg shape as well. So the opposite way, where our back is this way, but our front is going up that leg. And the back of the front leg as well. And see how we can see how it continues up that leg. I prefer to use my curved scissors when I'm shaping in our round shape for our bracelets, because I can really get around there and give that nice curved sculpt look. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with our placement of those two. So then I'm going to do her other side, and then once we've done her other side, then I'm going to get a really good clean cut with these breaks and then really scissor them so they're really plush and beautiful. Okay, so I've set in the basic shape of my bracelets, and now I'm going to really precision cut my cuffs, so the bevel, so they come up really nicely, and I want to scissor up so the hair just sits up and comes around the front and the rear legs, so it just looks really nice and plush. So we're going to get a really nice line on these bevels. And as you can see, I'm using my curve the other way, so we get a nice straight edge coming into our bevels. Good girl. And then we can pop her foot on the ground and have a look. And I really like our cuffs to sit on our knuckles. We can see how we've got that nice V shape happening. And we are going to do this process on all 4 bevels. Alrighty, so I've got her bevels in, so now I'm going to get a better, more sharper break at the start of our bracelets. And this is where we need to make sure our front bracelets are nice and even Steven, so coming through our front profile. And then our back bracelet coming into our front bracelet. So from our hock area, so our highest point, coming into the front of our front leg and into that bracelet. So we'll just clip in that break so it's a little bit neater. And our other side. Okay, so I like to comb all those little hairs up and make sure we're pulling out any hairs that we've missed, so we might have long strands of hair everywhere, and that's okay. And then give it a nice spritz. This will help keep it in place, which is hard today because it's quite windy. And then we are going to then re-scissor our shape in. get all those little hairs we've missed. And we can scissor some little bits off our legs as well that the clippers sort of miss. We've done her bracelet, so all I've got left is her top knot, her little ears and her tail. I am growing her ears and tail out, so I used to clip them quite short, but now I want her to have nice, beautiful, juicy ears, so we'll get stuck straight into her top knot. She has a full head of hair, so we do have quite a lot. The shape that we want, so from her cheek area, we want this to come straight up on that angle. We don't want it to come like directly upwards. We want it on an angle and outwards. So this line will follow past her ear and into the back of her crest. So I do like to put more of an angle on it because when her ears move, it means her top knot isn't going to move too far up, like it's going to sit really nicely. I'm going to see how we go with the wind, but I'm going to try and comb everything over. Pop that ear back. And I'm coming in with my straights on an angle and cutting off that cheek area. Yep. We want to get this nice transitional line from our clipper work into our top knot. We want this really nice and plush and seamless. And then let's do the other side. Okay, so let's try and follow that line past her ear. So as we're coming into this ear area, we want our scissors to sit on top of the ear, so where the ear starts. We don't want to go any further down the ear because that will change where her ears actually sit. So if I come through and I can feel where my scissors are going to sit on the top of that ear, and I've still got my scissors on that angle and coming at the back of that ear into that crest area. Comb it over again and scissor another layer off. And then the other side. Coming behind and down towards her crest. Let's just tidy that up. Okay, so for her front, I'm going to comb all that hair forward and pop my scissors on a 45-degree angle and begin to cut and start to frame her eyes. So a top knot is all about framing our dog's head. And especially their eyes. They have such beautiful almond shaped eyes, so we really want to make them pop and show their beautiful shape. Kiki's got a lot of hair, so I'll be redoing some of the processes a lot, just to make sure I've got all those little hairs. Okay, so this is where I need her to stand, and then combing everything up, and this is where we're going to start rounding in our top knot, and then coming into the back of her neck, so into our crest area. I like to do a V coming down into our dog's wither. So coming straight down, the other side. And we'll tidy this up so we get this nice flow coming into her top knot. And I'm going to swap to my curve so I can get a nice sculpted top knot. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the shape of her top knot. Just going to scissor off behind her little ears and blend everything in. Okie dokie, so all we've got left is to trim up her little ears and trim up her little tail. And because her ears are still growing out, I'm just going to tidy up the edges. So just bringing them up a little bit, and I like my ears to sit around shoulder length. So as this begins to grow, we're going to get really nice ears. Making sure they're nice and even from the front. Okay, so let's look at her tail. You can see it's growing out, which is great because she hasn't had a long tail for quite a while. So running through with my slicker. And then we are going to find the tip of her tail, pop my fingers there to protect it, and cut straight across. And then hold on to our little tail from the tip. And anything that's sitting on her back, when we hold up her tail in her natural position, we are then going to scissor off. So eventually we'll get that nice round tail coming up. So it looks a bit short around here at the moment, but I think in about a month it would look really good. and the back of our tail. And then we can see where we need to take it quite short because it's going to hit the back. So I know that's our little marker. So I can just come around and scissor the rest of the base of the tail that short as well. Okie dokie, I'm pretty happy with that tail. It actually looks like there's more hair on it than there was before. So it's looking quite good. It's amazing what a little bit of a trim does. This is the finished trim. I think she's going to be a lot happier because we are in summer in Australia, so it's been pretty hot. It's been quite of a challenge with the wind and the flies that have been buzzing around us, but the location is just so gorgeous. I just don't think I want to leave, and I'm sure Kiki wants to get down on the ground and run around the vineyards and have a good time. Thanks for watching, and if you guys would like to see more grooming tutorials from us, definitely subscribe to our channel, and until next time guys, happy grooming. Dalwhinnie Wines are a premium producer of Shiraz and Cab Sauv and Chardonnays, and we would like to thank them for allowing us to film in this beautiful location today.